everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different than the typical content that I typically put out. So I am finally a United States citizen. I first came to the United States, just to give you guys a little bit of background. I first came to the US in 2012, 2013 as a exchange student from Nigeria. I came here and I did my junior year of high school, and I was hosted in Iowa. I have a video on my YouTube channel that talks a little bit about that, but that was when I first came to the US as an exchange student. I went back home in 2013, and then I came back in 2016 January, which is the spring semester, and started my college year in Iowa. So I did go back to Iowa for school. I went to a community college, Ellsworth Community College. From there, I transferred to the University of Northern Iowa, where I graduated with my bachelor's degree in double major management information systems and supply chain management. All right, that's a mouthful. Just wanted to give you an idea on how my immigration journey was. So I first started on a J1 visa. I transitioned and I became an F1 student when I came back for college. And then from being an F1 student, I became a United States permanent resident. And finally, drum roll please, a United States citizen. So in here is my naturalization certificate. And obviously, no need to tell you what this is because I'm pretty sure you know what it is. It is my passport. So, how did we get here? Like I said earlier, I started as a J1 and then became an F1 student when I came back for college, and then I became a permanent resident. Now, the most important part of the transition is probably what you'll be more interested in hearing, rather than how I became a J1 F1 permanent resident before a United States citizen. Okay, so the transition from J1 to F1. So like I said, I came as an exchange student, so I was on J1 visa. I went back home, finished up high school, took a gap year, and then applied for college as an international student, which transitioned me to an F1 student, or the F1 visa. Now that has specific requirements on its own, which I can talk more about that or help answer any questions if you do have that in the comment section below. So as I went through college, I was able to work part-time during school, which was under CPT, and then after I graduated, I got work authorization for just a year, which is called optional practical training, which was only valid for a year. During my college time, I did meet a boy. Aww. Which that's how all great stories or horrible stories start, right? Okay, so at Ellsworth, I did meet my now husband, Matthew, then. And we started dating in, what year was that? 2017. And by the time, 2017 started dating, by 2020, I had graduated from the university. We were still together, and we did get engaged in 2020. So I had just graduated from college. I had gotten my work authorization. There were quite a lot of things that happened before we did get married. Obviously, the obvious of 2020 was COVID. So unfortunately, I did not have a graduation ceremony because of COVID. But I did start working. I got my work authorization and I started to work. And two things were going through my head at the time before I got engaged or got married. I was planning to see about how I could also further my education. So going back and getting a master's degree, which is what a lot of international students tend to do when their work authorization expires and they have not yet transitioned to a new, different visa category. So that was also one thing that I was considering a lot. Another thing I was considering was Canada. I had actually applied for a visitor visa at the time to go to Canada, and I was planning to just go and explore and see what were the options there, if there were schools that maybe I could apply to for my master's degree, because in Canada they had more there was more of a path to permanent residency in Canada versus the United States. There is a path, but they were very, very difficult, and the competition was pretty high. Now, when I did graduate, my husband and I, well, boyfriend at the time, we did get engaged and we did get married shortly after. Because it was COVID-19, we couldn't have like a big wedding or anything. But if you've seen in my channel, if you've seen some of my videos that I've posted all about our wedding, you know, planning and event content, which is on my channel. So I would definitely put that link somewhere in this video, so if you wanted to check that out. So we did get married. We had a very small wedding. We got married and we started talking to an immigration lawyer, because one of the benefit of a United States citizen spouse is you can apply for permanent residency. You can sponsor your immediate family, which was in this case a spouse. So we hired an immigration lawyer and we started the application process for my green card. Now, it was a pretty amazing and smooth process. I probably started applying for my green card somewhere in, I'm trying to say October of 2020. And by April of 2021, we already did the green card interview and I had my green card on hand. So that was a pretty seamless process. We had no issue. You know, obviously I filed my taxes. You know, things were clean and fine and we didn't have any issues during that. So the first green card that I got was a conditional green card, which was only valid for 2 years, meaning after 2 years, I would have to apply to remove the conditions on my permanent residency. Now, fast forward 2 years, we were no longer living in Iowa. We had moved to Phoenix, Arizona, but I was still working with the same immigration lawyer that we had. So the same immigration lawyer went ahead and filed the conditions to remove the conditions on my green card, which was on my permanent residency card, which any marriage that's under 2 years, when you do apply for permanent residency, you will get the conditional green card. So the application process to remove the condition took forever. Like, so when I sent in the application, I received a confirmation letter which extended my green card for another 4 years. So I had to, anytime I traveled with my expired green card, I needed to have that you know, confirmation letter which stated that my green card was valid for another 4 years past the expiration date. Now, the reason why it's up to 4 years is because of the backlog. So I was still, you know, doing my thing. It was still fine. And so one of the cool things is that if you're married to a United States citizen, after 3 years, you are eligible to actually apply for citizenship. And so my lawyer, or our lawyer, recommended that when we do get to that point, 90 days before, we're able to put in an application. And it's totally fine to have a pending application to remove the conditions of your green card when you do that. So that's where gets into kind of the meat and potatoes of this video. So I have like a screenshot in front of me on my iPad just to kind of give you a little bit of a timeline on the conditions of my green card. So on April 19, 2023, USCIS received my Form I-751 petition to remove conditions on residency, and they sent me a receipt notice, and the receipt notice is what had the extension on the green card. Now, April 26th, so just a few days, 4 days later, it showed that they were actively reviewing my case. April 26, 2023. Now, that case wasn't actively reviewing up until I became a United States citizen. It was not approved until when I had gone in for my N-400, which is the citizenship approval interview. So while that was pending, I went ahead at about February of this year, February 26th of 2024, or I think a few days right before, we submitted the N-400, so application for naturalization form. We submitted it to USCIS, and by March 2nd, they were actively reviewing my application. Now that was still pending, and then May 15th, I received a letter telling me that I have an interview for my N-400, you know, that's the application for naturalization. So I had my interview. The interview was, I kid you not, so the interview was July 1st. And I was like, wow, what are the chances? So my birthday is July 2nd. Crazy, isn't it? So my birthday is July 2nd, and I got the receipt notice May 15th that they scheduled my interview for July 1st. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so amazing to have a successful interview July 1st. And because 4th of July was just around the corner, I was hoping I would get a 4th of July interview date, because 4th of July is a big day for USCIS when they tend to do a lot of naturalization ceremonies for people who pass their interview. So I was very optimistic. I was hoping that that would be the case for me. But let me tell you, something better happened. So 1st of July comes, I go to the interview. It was about 8 a.m. in the morning, or 8:45, or is it 8:45 or 9:40? It doesn't matter. It was in the morning. I went for the interview. I went with my husband. They usually tell you to bring your husband or your spouse because they have to approve the conditions, the application to remove the conditions on your green card, and that was through marriage. So possibility they may need to see your significant your spouse if they're there. So we did go together, but the interview was just me. Sorry guys, my battery died, so I had to change that really quickly. I did go in for the interview. They had to approve the application to remove the conditions on my green card. That was pretty much straightforward. They just asked me about my marriage, my husband, how we met, same thing. If we, had proof of filing taxes and all those kind of stuff. And they went ahead and told me that, hey, my application was approved. So they're gonna move forward to the naturalization application. So with the naturalization application, obviously they will ask you a few questions on the form that you filled out. So you want to make sure that during your application form, you at least have an idea or you remember everything that you did put in the application. They'll probably have you confirm your name, your age, date of birth, all those kind of stuff. And then they move to the civic test where they'll ask you 10 questions. But if you do pass up to 6, they will stop asking you. The passing score is obviously 6. So I was able to answer the first 6 questions, and we were done there, and I had passed the civic question. There was civic questions. There were also the reading and the writing, which I did, and that was fine. And one other thing they asked was they wanted some proof of some documents. And during the application, we had not yet submitted the taxes for the current year. So they just asked me if we had the most recent tax return, which we did, and we provided that. And yeah, I think that was it. She went ahead, the officer went ahead and said we were approved. Everything had gone so well. There was no hiccups or anything. They said my interview was approved and my N400 application has been approved. They took me outside to take a photo that would go on my naturalization certificate. Now, they said to go out to the lobby to wait so that they could give me my interview notice. So rather than going home and waiting for my interview notice to come, I was at the venue. I was at the interview location, I was at the lobby, and I was waiting, and my name was called, and they brought out my naturalization ceremony scheduled date. And I was like, oh, I hope it's 4th of July or something. And I open it, and I see the very next day. What is the very next day? July 2nd, my birthday, was the day of my naturalization ceremony. First thing in the morning, the ceremony was at 8 a.m. So first set of naturalization oath taking ceremony, I was in it on my birthday. Talk about a great way to become a United States citizen. It was like the perfect birthday gift I could ever ask for so far, and that was the case. I was so excited when I showed my husband. We were both in disbelief that it was on my birthday, but we were so excited. We stepped out. I called my mom, I called my sisters. I sent a screenshot to my friends here in town. I reached out to them, asked them if they could come for the ceremony, which they gladly said they would love to be there. And So yeah, we went home, finished the, came back. I didn't even know what to do. I think I went back to work or something because it was in the morning. I went into work and just carried on with my day and filled out the form. Or, I had a form that they needed me to fill out for the ceremony, which was going to be filled out the day of the ceremony. So yeah, we show up the next day, ceremony day comes, it's 8 a.m. in the morning. We literally show up right before they started check-ins. We got in, our friends came, which shout out to Trey, Wes, and Alex, who showed up to the ceremony, even if some of us did not bring our identification, so couldn't make it into the ceremony because it's a federal building, so you need to have a proper identification, and Alex for sure didn't. So she was in the car the whole time, but it was just something to laugh about after the ceremony. Like, she remembered a banana or something and forgot her ID. It's so hilarious. We still laugh about it to this day. So, but it was such an amazing ceremony. It was beautiful. I'll obviously insert clips for you to see how the ceremony went. It was so exciting. We had such a good time. Things just were looking up, and I was so happy with how everything turned out. We did our oath taking. We were sworn in as United States citizens, and things was just great. It was my birthday. I think I even went into work or something to grab something, but I remember some of my colleagues from work were like, hey, it's your birthday, what are you doing? Just go home, And so I closed out a little bit early, and then we had dinner with my friends. We had dinner celebrating my birthday and obviously becoming a United States citizen on my birthday. And then what happened? So yeah, everything was good. I received my certificate that day. We got a form to register as United States, register to vote for the upcoming election, which I have. And if you haven't, you should, if you're a United States citizen, please. But yeah, it was so exciting. I was so very excited about everything. I think the journey thus far has been, it's been a whirlwind, but we're so glad. Oh, I'm so glad, just being in the position where I am today. And obviously, as I became a United States citizen, the first trip I took was to Nigeria. I went back home. Obviously, it was already a pre-scheduled trip that I planned to go, but it was just so exciting. And right away, right when I got my certificate, obviously you get advised to update your social security or update your data with social security that you're a United States citizen, and also with your driver's license as well. And I didn't do those immediately because I was traveling out of the country. So my biggest priority was getting my passport ready. So you're able to get your passport after your naturalization ceremony. So I literally just took my certificate. I was able to get my passport same day here in Arizona, which was pretty fantastic. I literally got my passport in about 2-3 hours. So I waited, collected it, came back home. I was ready to go on my trip. So after I came back from my trip, that was when I went ahead to update with Social Security and also get my driver's license, which now my driver's license doesn't say limited term, which it typically do. Now it's just a full driver's license with full length of, it doesn't expire till I think after 8 years. That's how they issue it here in Arizona. But yes, my naturalization and everything happened in Phoenix. That was the process in office, and it was so good. I had such a good experience, no issues there, no hiccup. Obviously, the only thing about immigration that you tend to deal with is all about the wait time, but everything was good, and I'm so grateful with how everything turned out. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be done with this video. I know it's been a lot, I've been chatting quite a bit. If there is any more information that I can help you with, any questions you have, please feel free to share it down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer it. Obviously, I'm not an immigration attorney or immigration lawyer, so I cannot necessarily give you immigration advice. I'm just here to share about my experience and how everything went. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.